to put this cloche over this basil. So these mini greenhouse cloches, I bought them from Amazon via Thompson & Morgan. $17.99 for one, $27.99 for two. Air vents, side pieces go on. There's holes in the bottom so that you can peg them down outside. I intend to start things off in the polytunnel using them, and then obviously use for stuff early in the season that's planted directly outside as well that might need a little bit of help. I'll use them for that as well. But yeah, they're brilliant. I first saw them with Jessie from plot 37. To give you an idea of how wide they are, these beds up here are 1.2 metres wide, and it fits just nicely in there, so really would handily cover a row. I might actually get some more of them. Quite impressed with them. So that's my number one tip for the garden: mini greenhouse cloches. Easy to manoeuvre around and store, as opposed to just one big cold frame. So what am I up to today? These are a box of broad beans aqua dulce. I'm going to sow some outside, and I'm going to put some in pots hanging from a shelf in the greenhouse, just in case these are gotten by mice or other rodents. I don't know if I like broad beans. I think I had them once out of a tin many years ago from my mum. Sorry, mum. And I feel like they need a chance of redemption before I can find them to all of my eternal life as something that I don't eat. So given you can grow them in winter, it's not going to take up much space for me. Well, I have a lot of space, as you can see behind me, so I can give them over to that. If I really don't like them, I'll just remove the crop and it'll go in the compost bin, so it won't be wasted. I think I'm going to get wet again. That sky is not looking very promising that way, is it? I'm going to plant them in the top section of this bed because they won't grow overly tall, so I like to keep things that are a bit shorter next to the fence because of livestock. The end bed here, I'm hoping to have peas and runner beans and French beans and things that side over an archway next year. So this side of this bed I think will be fine. It's actually quite exciting to get something else in one of these beds, so let's hope that they are successful. Right. This bed has got muck underneath it. I'm just going to rake more up this end because I probably will be topping it up with soil soon, so I won't be able to do that around where these are. So if I rake it up from down the bottom. Right. So we've got 35. Well, I haven't. I gave a few to my daughter. So I want to keep 12 back. 2, 4, 6, 8. Actually, I'll keep 10 back. No. I'm going to keep 12 back to plant in the greenhouse. I'm going to put these in here. Sort of throw them out, get around there, and I'll put a third row here, I think. Yeah. I'm just going to plant them on their sides. I don't know the way you're supposed to do it, but I'm going for on their side. 2, 3. Right. Just pat them down a bit. Right, now I've been and got out of one of our sheds this, and it's a back to a silage trailer, but I'm just going to use it over the top just to keep birds off while they germinate, hopefully, and then I'll move it and put something else when they get a bit bigger. That should protect them. I've told my husband I want to keep these, this one and another one, The other one doesn't have the mesh quite so close together, but I thought that either of them would be good for this kind of thing, or for drying onions on next year, hopefully, if he makes a frame to attach them to. Now you've joined me in the greenhouse, and I'm going to use this pot, this bit of string, and a hanger on the ceiling of the greenhouse to make these rodent proof. Put the compost in there. Just going to shove the beans in on their side. Oh, it's starting to rain. I think they go in on the side. This is when I find out that they should go that way. Maybe I'll put some that way, then something will be right. I've always gone for a theory that if you're not quite sure which way to put them, if you put them on your side, surely something will grow as opposed to putting them upside down. Well, I don't think that'd ever become a top tip. I wouldn't listen to me on that one. Big test. I'm going to put these end two, and they might be the only two that grow. Get a little bit more compost. Now this is the bit that gets slightly more clever. To thread this underneath here like this, and now I'm hoping that you can see me thread it through the clip on the greenhouse roof. This one the other way, pull it through. Oh, don't tip them out, Claire, don't tip them out. And then I'm going to tie them underneath like this, and then sort of jiggle it about until it finds a level. And there you have it. That's my mouse defences hanging from the roof of the greenhouse. That's a productive 5 minutes in the greenhouse. Unfortunately, it's now raining again and my coat is in the polytunnel, so I'm going to get wet going to get it. Ugh, I am a bit fed up with this weather. I did say those clouds looked ominous, didn't I? We finally put the thermometer up on the wall. Can you see that? It's currently 24.6 degrees in here. Whilst I'm hiding from the rain in the polytunnel, Duncan is very much into weather, and I think all farmers are a bit of weather geeks really, aren't they? And he has this very expensive Eco-Wit weather station, and it records obviously the monthly rainfall. And it's amazing to think actually that way back in February, when we recorded, I can't remember how many millimetres of rain in February, but that would end up being the driest month of the year so far. I mean, and when you say that again and let it sink in, February has been the driest month of 2023 here in Staffordshire so far this year. I mean, how crazy is that? How absolutely crazy is that? Oh, I'm gonna have to make a run for it in a minute. I did find a hat in the desk in the polytunnel, so I've now got that on and put my coat on. It's gone off a little bit now, so time to put the polytunnel to bed and make a run for it. Just imagine when that view behind me is full of structure and tasty crops. Can't wait. I've come onto the original garden now. This is where we removed the mini polytunnel last week. I do think there might be a sign of some of the grass thinking about coming back to life. Probably just weeds. Anyway, today I'm going to tackle this bed. I've already raised this bed once because the purple sprouting broccoli is just, well, it's huge. When I planted this, I didn't expect purple sprouting to grow quite so tall. I just bought it from a garden centre, so it just had its name on it, no real details about it. So I expected it to sort of behave like the tender stem broccoli in height, how big this has grown has absolutely blown my mind. It's huge. In this bed with it, there is beetroot at the end, and there's a few leeks, and there were some carrots planted underneath because I didn't expect it to be this tall, so they're not getting any light. And this was the sad sap bed that had the spares in it. So there's a few spring cabbages there that clearly not doing very well. And then this is the other purple sprouting broccoli that I'd put in here that really didn't do very well at all until recently. Then it's just suddenly sort of taking over again. This was all underneath here until a couple of months ago. So, well, it's not even that long ago, to be honest. And it's just suddenly sprouted since I've taken the cover off it. These are spring cabbages. They weren't sown that long ago, really, but they seem to be getting quite big already. So I think what I need to do today, I can't raise this and still keep the cover underneath it and protect the beetroot, because I struggled with beet leaf miner when I grew it without a cover on, so that's been under a cover from day one. There's also some chard on the end that I might put some of that in the polytunnel over winter. So I think I need to take the cover off of that half and bring the cover down to sort of, it's going to have to come here, isn't it? It's a triffid, isn't it? It really is. Right, let's get on and do that. Just look at the size of the stem. Obviously I can tidy it up a bit now as well. And these are those poor carrots that are not doing anything because they're not getting any light underneath there. There's a few weeds under there as well now. But yeah, they're huge. But as you can see, the leaves were curling over at the top now because as much as I've raised up the cover, they were still touching it. I find some higher bamboo canes. I'm not sure. I'll have a think. But first I'll do a bit of weeding. Oops. Nope, there's definitely roots in there of that. Just pull these bits of grass out. Try and get in there and break that leaf off. This bed has had minimal involvement from me. I basically planted everything, covered it up and left it to it. Obviously I did water them when they needed watering, and have they had feed? I'm not even sure that I've given them any feed because there's quite a lot of manure in this bed because it was freshly put in, so I didn't really bother with that. I have had some of these baby beets off already. Made a nice pickled beetroot for my husband, so I might take a few more of those now if there's any that are big enough for that. Not too weedy for having been left, is it? There's a few weeds coming through now, but nothing that would take a long time to clear. I think these were spring onions that really haven't done anything because obviously they've been eclipsed somewhat by the purple sprouting broccoli. A few leeks here that seem to be doing okay at the moment, and this is the Bright Lights chard, which is a little bit of slug damage, but nothing major. But again, it's not really grown much considering how long it's been in here. Everything else, looking at the back, was planted beginning of August. These were transplanted at the same time, but they were bought as seedlings probably a few weeks before from the local garden centre. Shall we have a look and see if there's any? Oh, it's not a bad baby beet. He likes them quite small and tender when they're cooked and pickled. Oh, this one's a bit bigger. Well, actually, no, it's not. If I'm going to put the pressure cooker on to cook them, then I might as well just take them all because they're really not going to grow much now, are they, at this time of year? So, I might as well just pull them all up and get them in jars. It will definitely make a few jars of pickles. we go. Obviously nowhere near the biggest, but they were always only planted to get baby beets from because of the time of year I planted them, so I'm very pleased with those. Now I've taken the beetroot out and I've cleaned out around them, taken the lower leaves off. I think I am going to recover them, so I'm going to get some canes and try and raise this up. And obviously the cover doesn't need to go as far now, it doesn't need to extend to the other end of the bed. So yeah, I think it would be a bit of a shame to uncover them when they've been protected for so long. The ones in the other bed here, they're already my sacrificial ones. So we'll leave one covered and one without and see what does better. Now I don't have canes above 5 foot, but I'm hoping that if I fasten these to these edges a little bit, just so I don't have to put them in the ground quite so far, that they will do the job in just holding the cover off of these a bit more. That's the wrong way around, Claire. I've got some more of these tops that are on these to stop it going through the cover. Just put some on the other side. So this is all they are, and they just fit on top of the canes. Like, not like that. There's a dead end to stop them coming off. Don't do what I just did. Pay attention, Claire, pay attention. There we go. It's all finished now. It does not look pretty, but hopefully it is effective. Don't know if you can see through. So I've tied these on, and then it is a little bit short on these edges. So what I've done is wrapped this together and clipped it to seal that side. And there's a little bit of an overhang here that I've clipped to the top frame there. The sun's trying to come out, look at that. Still need to fill, this is where the brassicas are going next year. Still need to fill that bed. I'm not in a rush because it won't be having any manure in there. Shall we go and see if anything's dug up the broad beans? Nope, they don't look disturbed, so that's a good sign. Get these doors open for some ventilation. These little gems have come on in the last couple of days since the last video. Look at them. Aren't they beautiful? Look at that. Blue sky all of a sudden. Wow. I'll have a bit more of that, thank you very much. Wow, everywhere looks so nice and bright. Even my little robin on his fork. Right, I'm just going to check on the things my sister's got growing in here. She has moved to a new job that's a lot further away now. So she doesn't really get a chance to come, or she's not going to get a chance to come in the week at the moment. she should be able to come after work in summer because it'll still be light, but not now. She's got a few lettuces and she's put some onion sets in here as well. These mini polytunnels are great if you don't have the space or the permission to put up a big tunnel. When I had this on my garden, I had it hinged along the longer side because this is 5 foot by 4 foot. But what I found was when it opened that way, that you couldn't reach across the back of the bed very easily, and obviously you couldn't get around the back because of the lid was in the way. So this time for my sister, when we moved it, we've hinged it on this side, which is twofold good reason. It's now opening and resting on the wood chip and not on hardcore, but it does mean that she can get around both sides of it. We added this tensile wire, can you see it there? A bit closer. Just as security to stop the wind getting underneath the lid and lifting it while it's in the opened, vented position. I'll leave you now watching the sun setting over the plot, and I think on this Remembrance weekend, seeing the sun going down seems quite fitting. Thanks to all the new subscribers, really appreciate it, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye!